will make space for you, baby doll. It's happening right there. Look at that. So how our neural mapping leads us to an evolutionary edge of our capacity as humans. And it is my humble opinion that that's what we're doing here on the mat. While we need to keep our skin bag healthy, we've had this discussion a lot, and many of you would say that you get it. When your skin bag is achy or hurts or feels just out of shape, and to say that I'm in shape, I'm in very plush shape. I'm a nice, slow, steady ride. So there's OSHA standard handles. When the ride gets rough, you got something to hang on to. So there's some upside to that, being able to keep things together. So Alexis will squeeze, O'Brien will squeeze, get in, get on, we're good. And so, or we can make room for you up here too, if it's too squizzy. Look, there's a third person available here. So one of the things that, interestingly enough, came up was a juxtaposition of how Christianity, which I started in a Protestant Catholic mixed home, and slowly became what I would call a bad Buddhist, and then a yogi, and now I'm pretty much a yogi bad Buddhist person. And so some of Christianity no longer resonates with me until this conversation with this neurobiologist, which was the 10 Commandments are essentially an effort at helping us understand how to avoid adrenal burnout. So we go through the first 10, and if you ever have the chance to listen to George Carlin's stick about the 10 Commandments, he gets it down to 2, basically, and one of them involves being true to the person that's providing your nookie. But if you think about, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, and if we go through those 10 Commandments, you can start to see, this is an effort at staving off insanity. Good behavior, being aligned with sweetness and ethics in the world will keep us from having some skitsy moments. However, we all know, and he made the joke, so I'm going to steal it and offer it to you, envy and sex and anger and violence, it's part of who we are. So instead of trying to tell us what not to do, yoga, in my humble opinion, and Buddhism has offered us plenty of tools for when the shit happens anyway. So if you start fucking somebody outside the arrangement of your, hey, I'm true to you, I've chosen you, you've chosen me, and I'm thinking about it over here too. These sorts of things creates a lot of complexity. There's a lot of shame, fear, guilt, and we could have a very, very long conversation about, or many conversations about, how you might avoid that. However, let's go with the fact that we have a stacked brain. We just discussed it. Your threat evaluator is, do I fight with it? Do I fuck it? Do I feed on it? Do I run from it? Do I freeze? All these elements of the 4 or 5 Fs. So know that your brain is organized first to make that discernment. And if by virtue of some unfortunate experiences in your childhood, you're kind of stuck in that loop. Freeze, flight, fight, fucking. Then it's hard to get up to social context. How does that work for us? And finally, and this is where we're headed right now, is to be able to experience these deep human emotions, whatever they may be, and they include joy and grief and sadness and nostalgia, and be in it without checking out, without becoming reflexive. Because that's the evolutionary brain. And yet for many of us, we have to reconcile with the primary brain, the threat evaluator, to settle down in there and to elicit a willingness to be uncomfortable while knowing that you're safe. So many of my classes are physically challenging because it elicits, it's a cheat. It elicits this and all your sense of inadequacy, all your pattern behavior, all your responses to what happens when it's not easy, when it's not comfortable, when it's not normal, it's not the same thing you expect each time, gets elicited, you have an opportunity to go back and work on the primary brain, the secondary brain, and become a person who can reside more frequently in your evolutionary aspect. So when there's discomfort, you don't check out, you don't freeze, you don't flee. Now, this is of critical importance. It's also at that third brain that you exercise what's known as discernment. So discernment is when you acknowledge, it's just too much for me right now. And you back out. Because if you can't choose peace, get out of the fucking situation. It's a spiritual imperative. Which is why I will strongly say to you, do not accept shitty behavior. Don't engage in it yourself if avoidable. However, being a yogi, being a spiritual person doesn't mean you eat shit spoonful after bowlful after day after day. It means that you understand where your growing edge is, which is a direct reflection of our physical practice. So you come up to your edge and you reside in the discomfort with your breath. That's the tool. The gauge and the flag for when you've overshot and you're burning your own toast is your breath. So come back to the breath. Always, it's your gauge. So as I encourage you toward physicality as a tool to start to recraft your neural network, your radiant heart presence, we'll move toward discomfort. That's one of the reasons why we do this shit in the heat. Because right off the bat, you're like, get a good waft halfway through class. You're like, something's funky. And you may say some aspect of your own body sort of gives you a moment of revulsion. Settle down and into that. Be forgiving, be sweet, be kind. Steady yourself. Some aspect of your practice. I suck at handstands. I used to have them, I don't anymore. Maybe again someday. It's not the gauge of who I am. So don't chase the posture. Watch what's happening underneath. That's where you can make serious, long-standing change that turns us toward the evolutionary edge. And I would dare say, I stopped watching TV a long time ago. I watch a few small things so that I kind of have a thumb on what's happening, so I'm not stuck in the sand. But I would say if you do watch any TV, you can see that our lives are filled with some aggressive porn, some aggressive news, some aggressive rehashing history. There's a lot of stuff that needs us to be in a sweet, centered space when it's not fucking easy and it's not comfortable. So you're not here singularly to express your physicality. Or if you are, have fun with that. Please, sincerely. And if you want a little bit more out of your own life, work with me. Come to your edge. Bring your breath. Bring your awareness. And when it's too fucking much, lay down. So you can get your shit together and go back at it. Because that's the gauge of an adult. I know when to rest. I know when to rage. I know how to do it. And when you see injustice in the world, you stand in it and you do something about it. And it starts in here with us first. It's the only thing you can truly change. And then as you do the change, it radiates and things join you by choice, not by force. So in here, us, me, you, sweetness and steadiness. Lay down when it's too much. Get out of it. Pour coffee on your own crotch. I gotta go. Seriously. Spill some, drop a nipple out. Oh my God, I have to go fix that and leave. So when it's too much, take care of yourself and then go back at it. It's a technique. It's a really helpful one. If you ever see me fall flat on my face, it's like, oh, I'm done talking to you. I'm sorry, I'm broken, gotta go. So know where we're headed. So I'm gonna make the challenge. And today, very sweetly, this is an open invitation. One of your fellow classmates made the playlist. Don't blame me. Don't get excited when your favorite song comes on. You are welcome to do the same because it is well known that I suck at playlists. Well known. Like I'll cut a song off halfway through. I'll put metal right next to some choir chant. It doesn't work. So, give thanks for an SOB, Sean O'Brien. Thank you so much. Let's get up and onto our feet.